What's going on, traders? It's Rookie with TechWith Solutions. So we are going live pre-market hours. So market opens in about 9 minutes. And as you can see, JDST. This is an ETF that I'm actually following up on that I ended up holding over the night, right? And I'm going to be talking about why I saw so much potential on JDST and what led to my successful trade. So with my current position on JDST, I do have a stop loss since I do have access to trade pre-market hours. It does look like we have a pretty solid resistance at about $80. It hasn't really been able to hold above $80 during pre-market hours, as we can tell that. Let's go ahead and see and set this up a little bit better. I'm going to change my drawing tool to price level, and I'm going to simply set it there. And it looks like during pre-market hours, the support overall is about where the previous resistance was. And what I mean by that is, as this ETF was actually coming up, it had a somewhat of a resistance at about $78.50. So it struggled to go above that, right? Now, during pre-market hours, it broke above that resistance, and now that becomes a new support. And then the new resistance is about $80. And the new support is about 78.50 to 78.30. So like we know, old supports or old resistance levels become new support levels, and then it builds a new support at $80. So what I did is I ended up getting in. If you guys followed up with my trade with JDST on my live stream yesterday, ended up getting in on JDST at an average of 76.87 to be exact. I only got filled with 24 shares. And right now I'm up about $52 or $72.48 altogether with my total return. Like today's return, the growth that we actually saw today is 2.82%. To make sure that I lock in my profits, and this is at the average price of 79.89. So it's actually approaching resistance. But why is it that you might think that I haven't locked in my profits yet? Well, because I believe realistically with JDST, we really have that potential to continue rising, right? It has that potential to continue rising up. So I wanted to give it that cushion, but I wanted to do that safely, right? Like conservatively. And how I do that is I follow with a stop loss, especially if you're, using, Robinhood, especially if you're using Fidelity or TD Ameritrade. You could always cancel your stop loss and then actually just, re-enter it as it continues to rise. It is going to be a little bit more difficult, and you do have to be pretty quick with your orders, but that is something that you're going to have to do. Now let me go ahead and get a little bit closer so you guys can see exactly that, what it is that I'm trying to look at. But when it comes to the resistance that's at at $80, it's really going to have to come down to how it opens, right? So what I want to see is right before this market open, how it reacted to yesterday's market open. If there's a pullback, and if there is a pullback, then I have to prepare for it, right? So I'm going to look at it as it opens during pre-market hours as of yesterday and see how that played out. Again, just previous trends repeating themselves, and how JDST usually reacts after the market opens. Well, based on these candlesticks that I'm seeing right here, it looks like it was doing well. It was actually up, where it previously closed, and it ended up doing pretty good. It showed signs of upward momentum. It didn't have a pullback until it hit this Bollinger Band. But other than that, I mean, the pullbacks tend to be they're actually pretty heavy. It was about $1, and then saw an upward trend. So I don't think I'm going to give it. Want to give it that much cushion. Let me go a little bit further back and see if there's a pullback here. So it saw a rise, went up, and then there's pullbacks right here, support. Okay. Well, nothing crazy. So I really think I have a pretty good plan. I really want to hear what you guys have to say. If any of you guys are trading JDST, and if my plan makes sense. So again, I bought in at 76.87. And in doing that, I want to make sure that I lock in my profits, right? And in doing that, I want to give it that cushion so it can do well, or even better than where it's at right now. But I want to make sure I have a stop loss to lock in profits. So I have my stop loss right at 79, in the sense, that's really where the support is at, or 78.50 if you want to be, exact. But right now we have buyers right here at 79.69, and some sellers at 79.86, and it looks like it's, probably going to break that resistance pretty soon, especially with probably the volume that we see during pre-market hours, or as the market opens. So that's something that I'm going to follow up on. It looks like it's getting a little bit, the ask and the bid's getting a little bit closer. So let me go and actually start performing some technical analysis on some stocks that you guys actually want me to do for joining our live stream. So let's go ahead and I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna start performing technical analysis for you guys. So Samer Hammond is asking me, Ricky, are you buying on Robinhood today? My day trades are still not available on my Robinhood account, so I'm actually gonna still be trading with my Fidelity account today. So I do apologize for that. So it looks like we're breaking resistance right now, but that's a really good question, Samer. So I'll for sure do that analysis for you. And this is whoa. This is just going to be a technical analysis. I want to talk about my whole thought process. I in no way want you guys to trade anything based on my opinion or anyone else's, and that's one of the biggest strategies or mistakes that people make, especially when starting out. Is if you don't identify potential yourself and you can't make sense of it yourself, then you shouldn't probably be trading it. And what I mean by that is to make sure that everything that you jump into, that you understand the potential, that you understand the risk, you set up a plan for success, and you trade accordingly, right? That you're smart about it, and you stick to your plan. That's one of the biggest things that we do well or so well within TechWeb Solutions, is that we stick to our plan and we don't let anyone influence, our trades, but we're open-minded to, any opportunity, right? And I think that's what really separates us. So it looks like it hit highs of $12. Obviously, a huge pump. I'm not exactly sure. Again, I've never seen INO before. So it's a pharmaceutical company, I'm guessing. Maybe one of its drugs ended up going through FDA approval. Let's see. Yep, results of its HIV vaccine. Um, Regardless, I've made a video about why to not chase hype. This is going to be more of a momentum stock, and it looks like it's going to have a pullback. This one's probably going to be extremely profitable, not because it's already so high, because it's already seen its rise. But what I want to see is we talk about buying the stocks at the dip. So waiting for a pullback for it to set its support, start seeing an upward trend, and then setting up a plan on where you're going to get in, where you're going to get out, back to where it used to trade at, and then cutting losses if it breaks that old support or that new support that it created. But definitely this one, I think that is going to have a huge potential throughout the day. Do I think that it'll go back to $12 again? I don't know anything about this stock, but again, just be ready for the pullbacks because these are very common with huge pumps. I would hate for this to be a pump and dump. You guys hope for the best and then not be able to cut losses. So just make sure you have a plan and trade accordingly. Summer Hamden says, thanks, Ricky. Of course. JNUG going down. Well, yeah, so JNUG, based on it being the inverse ETF of JDST, is seeing a downward trend. So what that means is if my position with JDST ends up taking a huge dip, then I'll probably get into JNUG just because I know that's going to be the inverse of the stock that I'm trading. So it looks like we're well over $80. So what I'm going to simply do is cancel my current stop loss at $79 and then put it at $80. And what I mean by that is I want to make sure that if all of a sudden, let me go ahead and just place this order real quick. I apologize. So stop loss, and then 24 shares. So I hope that makes sense to you guys on why I'm setting a stop loss as it's rising. Because all of a sudden, if it takes a dip, I just want to make sure that I can lock in my profits. And that's really just it. So the market just opened, and we're going to see what happens. So let's see if we see a pullback or if we see a little rise. So we're on 1 minute candlesticks. We're seeing a rise, good amount of buyers. But again, the volume is very quick, especially with JDST. Um, so we got to make sure that we get in and out pretty quickly. Um, Looks like we're doing pretty well. I'm most likely going to stop loss out. It looks like it's not seeing everything that I wanted to see. Uh, Volume isn't as great as I thought it would. I mean, The 40, yeah, I'm gonna stop loss out, but totally okay. So let's focus here. Buyers here at 80.10, 80.09, 80, and there we go. And it popped right through. Okay, where did my stop loss kick in? Yeah, and that's very common. My stop loss ended up kicking in at 79.98. And I set my stop loss at 80, so it wasn't at that exact price point. But that's pretty common, especially with the volume being so high. I want to make sure that you guys are completely aware that when you guys, put a stop loss at like 80, and if the volume is too quick and it drops down, if it sells automatically at whatever the market price is. Therefore, because at that exact moment it was at 79.98. That's where I got filled. So unfortunately, I lost 2 cents per share. But realistically, again, I only had 24 shares. That means I lost 48 cents. Not a huge deal. It's down to it. Always have a plan and always stick to it. So what could people say that I did wrong with JDST? Well, they could say that because it has all this potential, I should have held, and I should have been a little bit more risky, right, with my trade. And I totally understand 100% where you guys are coming from. But I definitely want to make sure I lead by example. And something that I talk about a lot is locking in profits and the importance of it. So I'd much rather lock in, the 3% plus position that I had or profit on JDST um, than rather hope for the best and hope that it goes back to actually where the price is. And that just makes sense to me as a trader. And that's all I needed to, really make sense to. I'm here to share my mistakes and to share my best practices, but in no way am I here to make someone happy because of my trades or influence, how I trade solely because that's how you guys feel, right? So I 100% want to make sure that you guys know that I'm here for you guys. But when it comes down to it, you guys have to understand that I have my own style of trading, and you guys do too. So if it doesn't make sense to you, and if it's out of your comfort zone, um, and it's something that has led to your success, then definitely, continue doing what it is that you're doing, and don't let others influence, the type of trader you are. Now, when it comes to, if you're making a consistent amount of mistakes and someone has a best practice that has been proven to, work for them, then maybe trying it out or just getting your feet wet with that specific style, with maybe simulation trading that doesn't really have any real monetary risk, might be something useful for you. So let's go ahead and I'm going to start filtering through a couple more stocks, seeing if we can get in. But it looks like I got in or got out at just the right point. Yes, I missed out on about 57 cents worth of profit. And yeah, I could have sold, but realistically, I had a plan, giving it a cushion, setting my stop loss. It looks like it had a pullback, which is something that we expect quite often, and a support now at 79. So we're most likely going to start seeing an upward trend, and this is just one that I'll follow up on. But other than that, I think we're good to go on this. So let me go ahead and go to, I don't know, I want to see how that one's doing. Yeah, so this one did receive, just like we said, a pretty hefty pullback, set its support at 917 and started seeing an upward trend and is now trading at about 940. So from this support that it, made to where it's at right now, as long as it continues to rise, I'll probably see a resistance at 980 just because, that's where the old support was. So old supports become new resistance levels, but definitely a good stock to continue following up on. I just definitely don't see the value in when it comes to day trading, just because it consistently shows to be on a downward trend. So I hope you guys see that. But let me go ahead and see. I really like going based off volume. And let me go ahead and change that. So looks like a GLYC. I actually don't like that stock. The reason why was because it was overhyped a couple days ago, and I don't like trading stocks that are based on too much hype. So it looks like it had a good support yesterday. If I'm not mistaken, this is a stock that got overhyped. Yeah, from $3. Yeah, I just don't like it. It's not in my comfort zone. I don't really understand, why it sees so much momentum, and that's just my style of trading. Again, in no way do you guys have to trade the way I do, but it's definitely just my style. So now let's look at AMD. AMD is up. Now we're going to be looking for another swing trade, just like we did for JDST or a day trade. I'm really looking for a day trade right now. It looks like pre-market hours AMD had a resistance at $11.12. Support is going to be more here around the $11 mark, but $10.90, and that's really where it's heading. But not a huge margin of profit. And what I mean by that is, let me go ahead and change this tool. Alrighty. About 2%, 2.2% potential. With this $1,000 challenge that we have within our group, you only need to be locking in 2.33% growth on average per day. I just feel like that's kind of just trying to hope for the best and squeeze in from top to bottom on where it's at. I really expect this to actually break below 1090 and probably go to the 1070 support. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply set an alert, put when it goes below 1090, and then just follow up with it. But it looks like there's a wall of, oh, and I just got alerted. All right, yeah, AMD, and then now it's going to have somewhat of a pullback, and this is where the support's most likely going to be. So I'll set my alerts here when it gets a little bit closer to the 1070 support. And I hope it makes sense to you guys, but pretty much, since it broke the support at 1090, right, it's going to see a downward trend. I'm expecting it to bounce at 1070, and then the new resistance is going to be at 1090 because, like, old supports become new resistance levels. And then once it breaks above 1090, that's going to be a support, and then 1112 is going to be the new resistance. So I hope that makes sense to you guys, and I hope that's why I continue to repeat it as much as I can. So I just got an alert that NAK went below 170. So let's go ahead and see how that one is doing. Let me go ahead and see a 5-day. So 1070 actually tends to be a pretty good price point. So let's go ahead and see what we can set up. And what I mean by a pretty good price point is based on how it's been trading. That tends to be a pretty solid support. Can it go below? Well, of course, it's gone to $1.37. So what could be a pretty proper plan that we can set up? Whoa, it actually just broke the support, and that is pretty uncommon for. And it's going to probably see a good spike in volume. So it's pretty uncommon for NAK to go below 170. But again, very realistic because it's a penny stock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a plan for success, and I'm going to use a prime bear pick checklist. And I'm going to do it pretty quick. Just if you guys can follow up with me, if you guys can download this within the Technical Solutions Facebook platform, you just search up the PBP checklist, and then you guys will have access to it. So NAK current price point is about $1.70. It's going to be $1.69 now. Resistance is going to be about $1.80, and my loss is going to be $1.68 if it breaks that support. So my purchase price is going to be around $1.70, right? I don't really care about getting at the lowest price. I just want to see signs of upward momentum. Target price will be already, but I'll follow with the trailing stop loss. And my max stop loss will be at $1.68. Percentage risk, which is 1.18%. My percentage growth, which is 5.56%. And it just tells you with $1,000, your max stop loss will be 15, max profit will be 55. Makes sense to me, and it's within my means. It's very realistic. Based on how it's been trading within the past 5 days, it has more margin of profit than it does margin for loss. So I'm going to simply decide to jump on in and go from there. So it looks like it's actually rising right now at 171. So I'm going to choose to jump on in. Give me one quick second. I need to freaking find it. I apologize. Oh, shoot, it's rising too quick. All right, so I'm going to try to get filled with a couple shares at 172. Let me get a little bit closer. If I get filled. Again, guys, and I really don't want you guys to be trading NAK if you guys don't see the potential. And the reason I see potential in NAK, and I'll just explain again my whole thought process, is I can stop loss out anything below 169. So that is my potential for loss. And my potential for profit is, where it's been trading, right? So if we go a little bit further back, is simply to, even just 176 where it was yesterday. But if we go 3 days back, it's been hitting highs of about, 3 to 185. So it makes sense to me. The potential for risk, again, as an investor, have to be willing to risk something. And if it makes sense to you, uh, risk and all that stuff. So current price point, and then your potential for loss, just because you should always be prepared for that, is about gotten filled. Potential for loss is about 2 cents to 4 cents as of the position that I'm probably going to be taking. All of it. I'm going to be trading with $3,000. I'm trying to get filled halfway right now. Signs of upward momentum. I'll average if anything. I'll cut my losses. Anything below 169 at only $1,500 is my ideal price point. So I really want to hear what you guys have to say about NAK. And right now in the live stream, if you guys can comment what you guys think and if it makes and why, if it doesn't, why it doesn't make sense to you, because I really want to see both sides of that. Looks like you guys are saying that my microphone is playing up. I apologize. I did not know that. So I probably should have gotten filled now since it took a little bit of a dip. And yep, there we go. I got filled. Whoa. And again, I don't want to buy more as it starts to drop to, lower my price point. This is a mistake I believe a lot of people make. And again, this is just my style of trading. But what people usually do is if they get in at a current price, right? Like I did at 172, and it starts to see a drop, just so they can average down and their average price lowers. What people usually do is buy at a lower price. And although that might make sense, as in like getting in at a lower price, but you're adding your shares to a stock that's losing money. So why would you do that, right? Well, it's supposedly so you can get in at a lower price, but if it continues to drop, then you only added more money into a stock that lost money. Therefore, I would much rather, as it continues to rise, to average up, worry less about my average price, and worry more on adding money or investing in something that's appreciating in value rather than depreciating. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. Let's go ahead and see what you guys have to say. NAK low volume at the moment. NAK is waiting for news for a partner. That's one smart guy. Appreciate that. Sounds like feedback. It's slowly moving with volume. Check out JNUG as NAK. Good to invest in. Strong support at 170. That's by the one smart guy. Appreciate that. So it looks like some of you guys are seeing, the potential. Some don't like the volume. I 100% agree. And if it's not in your comfort zone, again, when it comes to being a trader, you should always have certain criteria that they have to meet before you jump into a certain, stock. If it's either just technical, if it's more analytical, if it's more news based, whatever it is. Just make sure that there's every stock that you trade is a quality stock to you and that you see the potential in every single time you trade. You set up a plan for success on where you're buying, where you're selling, and where you're going to be cutting your losses. And then that's pretty much it. So I just got an alert through one of our buddies, Ryan O'Donnell, within the live stream, saying that JDST is moving. I'm going to set my alert here real quick. I have my stop loss set. Let's go. So it looks like it's at 69.26. There's a wall of, buyers there, but there's only sellers at 170. So I'll follow up with JDST pretty quickly. Oh, 81.50. Yeah, it would have been nice to hold. And again, you never truly know what can happen, right? So it looks like at a pullback, it's about $78. So that was, it's pullback, set its support, started seeing signs of upward momentum, and that's when I would have decided to jump back in again. Again, with this margin of profit on how it played out as a day trade, especially with this $1,000 challenge, based on where it was right now, I did not know that it was going to go back up to 81.50, obviously, or if I did, then I would have held. But I knew that there was a resistance based on where it previously was, so that potential for profit was about 2.24%. So it just wasn't really there for me. A stock for my day trades like NAK, I think is worth a little bit more worthwhile, right? Because of the price point of where it's at and stuff like that. So it looks like JDST, I just got the alert, went above 81.85. So I wish all you guys the best that are still holding JDST profit. So just please make sure that you have a plan on where you're gonna be locking in your profits and to follow with the trailing stop loss. But it looks like we're getting a little bit into the market. The volume is going to really start to slow down. So I'll follow up with this my trade today, my position on NAK. If it continues to rise, I definitely want to make sure that I average up. So what I'm going to do is look, it looks like there's a resistance at about 173. So what I'm simply going to do is I'm going to create an alert, right? Stay up to date on the specific stock that I'm trading. So when it goes above 173, it's going to alert me. And I also have my stop loss set at 169. So yes, I am currently down on my day trade for NAK, but I am up with my larger trade with JDST. And I feel like I have a pretty proper plan on, minimizing my risk and promoting growth. So it's just something that I'm gonna have to follow up with, and I hope you guys are excited for that. So it looks like Rabash said NAK broke support. Well, it hasn't broken the support at 69, which is where we actually labeled it during, once the market opened. We labeled the support to be at 169. But once it breaks that, then yeah, definitely, that's where my stop loss is going to kick in. So let's see. So yeah, so it looks like Erica Johnson saying, yes, I learned the hard way. Keep adding at low price and loss. So pretty much what she is saying is that she added, like when, let's say, for example, NAK was seeing, a drop. Let's say she bought in at 172 like I did. She continued to add more to her position as it continued to drop to average down. So it looks like, she got at a lower price, but realistically, she just lost to a losing position, and then ended up having to cut losses. So then, ended up losing more money than she would have if she would have just held that position. So again, we learn from our mistakes, but the whole point of this group that we have is to share them. And I think that's what we do best, right? We share our mistakes and share our best practices in effort to help everyone within our community. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. JDST is hit 83. And exposure is definitely a huge area for this group, right? Making sure that I talk about a certain stock. If you guys identify potential as a little bit more of a swing trade, then that you guys go for it. So I hope you guys are making some money. I really want to see how our group is doing. So this is the TechBud Solutions group chat. This is our pre-market movers group chat. It looks like um, there's a couple people on different stocks. Let's see. Profits on TCS. Perfect. Looks like some of you guys are trading INO and NAK, locking in profits. I like that. Talking about hype and then during pre-market movers. Sweet. And then this is our our Facebook group. Once you guys get accepted, just know on the top pinned post if you guys want to join our group chats. All the links are provided for you right here. And if you want to search up any of the like PBP checklists or any graphs or Excel sheets I've created for you guys, just use this search bar right here, and then you'll get guided right to it. Especially within our Technical Solutions YouTube channel. If you guys haven't done so already, we do upload twice a day our pre-market hours and then either a helpful video or a recap on our trades. So feel free to subscribe, and if you guys found this video helpful, we'd appreciate the support any way that you guys can give it. So especially with giving it a like and stuff like that. That's all we ask. Again, TechBud Solutions is a 100% free networking group, and we want to make sure that you guys are completely aware of that, right? And there's no better time to start, especially with that simulation trading and having access to no real monetary risk because of doing simulation trading with paper stocks or paper money. and as well as with this free networking group that can really lead and help you out with that exposure. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We did end up locking in quite a bit of profit with the JDST swing trade. And now we're just gonna have to follow up with my position on NAK and see if I ended up stop lossing out, or if I ended up doing a little bit better. So the volume is dying down. So we'll just have to see if it breaks the support that we have at 69 cents. So hopefully we don't, right? But again, we have a plan to make sure that we don't just hope for the best. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, guys.